$40 is small enough to disappear at a gas station or a grocery store, but move that same $40 before you spend anything else every single time you get paid, and something strange happens. You don't just build savings, you slowly build distance between you and the next financial emergency. The kind of distance that turns a flat tire from a crisis into an inconvenience. The kind that lets you open the electric bill without first checking your pulse. And eventually, the kind that you can put your entire year of essential expenses between you and panic. Now, $40 obviously cannot become a year of expenses in 12 months. If your essential bills are $2,000 a month, a 1-year buffer is $24K. Saving $40 between 2 weeks gives you $1,040 in a year. The calculator obviously isn't drunk. So the mystery is not how $40 performs a magic trick, it's how one small transfer changes the order in which your entire financial life operates. And the order matters more than most people realize. Most savings advice begins with a percentage. You save 10%, save 20%. Follow the 50-30-20 budget with 50% for needs, 30% for wants, and 20% for saving and extra debt payments. That is clean advice. It also assumes your life is clean. But real paychecks are messy. One month has 4 to 5 Fridays. Another has a medical copay, a school fee, higher gas prices, and a dog who suddenly needs to see the vet. If someone brings home $2,400 a month, 20% is $480. On paper, that looks responsible. And a month when rent is $1,200, transportation is $350, groceries are $450, and utilities and insurance takes another $500, that $480 target can feel less like a plan and more like a personal insult. So then people miss the target. Then they decide the whole budget has ultimately failed, and they save nothing. The $40 payday rule replaces a percentage target with a savings floor. Percentages stretch with income, a floor survives imperfect months. For someone earning $150K, $40 is not an ambitious savings plan. It's barely a speed bump. For someone earning $35K, it may require real adjustment. The number is not equally difficult for everyone, and it should be lowered if $40 would force you to miss rent, food, medicine, utilities, or minimum debt payments. But that is exactly why a fixed dollar floor is useful. It gives you a starting line you can actually see. Here's the rule. First, move $40 on payday before the rest of your paycheck starts receiving job applications. Second, put it in a separate savings account with no debit card attached. Third, at the end of every pay period, I want you to sweep part of whatever survived in checking into that savings account, then begin with the next $40. That third step is where things get interesting. The $40 transfer is not the entire saving strategy, it is the anchor. The sweep is the accelerator. Suppose you get paid every 2 weeks. On Friday morning, $40 moves automatically. By the next night, before your next paycheck, you have $73 left before the checking account cushion you decided to keep. You transfer 40 of that and leave 33 behind. That pay cycle produced $80 of savings, 40 at the beginning and 40 at the end. On a rough cycle, nothing is left to sweep. Fine. You still save that first $40. On a strong cycle, maybe you sweep around 80 or 120. The system bends without breaking. Think of it like plumbing. The first transfer is a small pipe that would always send water toward the reservoir. The end of cycle sweep catches water that would otherwise sit around until it leaked into Amazon orders, takeout, or the premium version of an app you forgot you downloaded. And yes, you can sweep amounts other ting multiples of 40. Rounding to $40 blocks simply makes the decision easy. 1 block, 2 blocks, 3 blocks. No spreadsheet meeting required. Most people try to save what is left at the end of the month. That sounds logical, except money has a habit of finding something to do. Leave an extra $100 in checking and it does not feel like an emergency savings. It feels like permission. 1 restaurant meal becomes 2, the older iPhone suddenly looks prehistoric, Costco somehow convinces you that buying 48 granola bars is an act of national preparedness. Saving first reverses the signal. Instead of asking how much can I save after I live, you ask how do I live on what remains after I saved. That sounds like a tiny wording change, it is not. It's the difference between putting a destination in your GPS before driving and then just wandering around until you happen to figure out where you want to go. Cash envelopes once made boundaries obvious. Touching the rent envelope for pizza felt wrong. A separate account recreates that boundary digitally. If checking is the kitchen counter, your emergency fund should not be a plate of cookies that's just sitting in plain sight. You put it away in the cabinet. Not locked away forever, just far enough away so that spending it requires a conscious decision. Take 2 workers for example, Maya and Jordan. They each bring home $2,400 a month, same job, same city, similar rent. Jordan plans to save whatever is left at the end of each month. In January, that's $160. In February, a car repair wipes out the surplus. In March, Jordan saves $90, then moves it back to checking after a birthday weekend. 3 months pass and the savings account has almost exactly what it had on New Year's Day. Maya, on the other hand, uses the $40 payday rule. She is paid twice a month, so the automatic transfers contribute $80 monthly. Some month, that's all she saves. In better months, she sweeps another 40 or 80 before the next paycheck. Let's say her average is $140 a month. After 1 year, Maya has $1,680 before any interest. That is not financial independence, of course, but it may cover a set of tires, a deductible, or 1 month of bare bones expenses. She has watched the system survive holidays, higher grocery bills, and a car repair. Her balance is no longer based on motivation, it is based on machinery. By year 3, if the average remains $140 a month, earnings reach $5,040. If her income rises and she increases the base from $40 to $60, the timeline shortens. If she redirects a paid-off car payment or part of a tax refund, it shortens again. This is how $40 builds a year's worth of savings, not through one heroic leap, but by becoming the first brick in a wall that keeps on getting taller. The base math is simple. $40 every week is $2,080 a year. If you want to divide it in half and say every 2 weeks, it is $1,040. Twice a month, it is $960. Once a month, it's $480. The difference matters. Every payday is not the same as every week, so use the number that matches how you are actually paid. Now add one $40 sweep per month. A twice monthly saver goes from $960 a year to $1,440. Add an extra $240 from a tax refund, bonus, gift, or side job, and the total becomes $1,680. Here's the surprising part. The first $1,000 can matter much more than a larger investment balance. Not because it earns more, it probably doesn't, but because it prevents expensive detours. A $600 repair paid from savings costs $600. Put that same repair on a credit card and carry the balance, the interest can make the repair cost much more while next month's cash flow becomes tighter. Then the tighter cash flow pushes the next surprise onto the card as well. This is financial traffic. A stalled car creates backup, which creates another backup, until a small problem miles ahead slows everyone down. Cash savings can clear the lane. This is also why the first destination should usually be boring. A safe, accessible savings account is not exciting. Neither is a fire extinguisher. You do not complain that a fire extinguisher failed to outperform the stock market, it has a completely different job. Money needed for emergencies or bills in the next few years generally should not depend on whether the stock market is having a good Tuesday. Long-term investing comes later, after the short-term plumbing works. A full year of expenses sounds enormous because people often calculate it using their usual lifestyle. But an emergency fund is not meant to finance 12 months of vacation, restaurant meals, streaming upgrades, and late-night shopping. Start with essential expenses. That could be your housing, basic groceries, utilities, insurance, transportation, medicine, and minimum debt payments. If normal spending is about $3,500 a month, but essentials are $2,200, then 1 year of survival is not $42,000, it is $26,400. It's still a large number, just a more honest one. Now, build it in layers. Layer 1 is a starter buffer, perhaps $500 or $1,000, depending on your risk. That handles the cracked phone screen, the urgent care bill, or the tire that apparently waited for the least convenient morning of your life. Layer 2 is 1 month of essential expenses. Layer 3 is 3 months. Many common financial guidelines stop around 3 to 6 months. That may be plenty for a household with 2 stable incomes, strong insurance, and flexible expenses. Someone self-employed, supporting relatives, working in a volatile industry, or sleeping better with more cash may prefer 9 to 12 months. There is no universal moral code attached to the number. More cash provides stability, but it also has an opportunity cost because money held safely may grow more slowly than long-term investments. Economists and financial planners can reasonably disagree because the right balance depends on job security, debt, health, family obligations, and personal risk tolerance. The $40 rule does not choose the final layer for you, it gets you pouring concrete instead of debating the perfect height of the building. And this is where simple rules usually collide with real life. Should you have saved $40 if you have a credit card debt? In many cases, keeping a small emergency buffer while attacking high interest debt can make sense. Without any cash, the next surprise goes straight back onto the card, and debt payoff becomes a treadmill. Lots of movements, save location. But the balance matters. If a car charges a very high interest rate, piling up a huge savings account while making only minimum payments can be expensive. After a starter buffer, extra money may do more work reducing that balance. So the sequence might look like this. Build a modest cash cushion, capture any employer retirement match if available and appropriate, and then focus aggressively on high interest debt, then expand the emergency fund and long-term investing. That is a framework you can work with. It is not personal financial advice. The exact order changes with interest rates, employer benefits, penalties, taxes, and your household's risk. What should not change is the habit of assigning money before it disappears. Even while paying off debt, the $40 mechanism can be redirected. The base transfer can go toward that starter buffer we discussed. The end of cycle sweep can attack the card. Once the card is gone, both streams turn towards savings. Same plumbings, new destination. The first failure is setting the number too high. If $40 causes an overdraft or forces you to borrow for groceries, it is not discipline. It is a badly sized rule. Start with 20, 10, or even 5. A floor should be low enough to survive the worst ordinary month. The second failure is keeping savings too close. If the account is attached to a debit card and appears besides checking every time you open the app, it is very easy to treat it like extra spending money. Separation causes friction, and a little friction is useful. The third failure is calling predictable bills emergencies. Car insurance due every 6 months is not an emergency. Neither are holiday gifts, annual subscriptions, property taxes, or the fact that children keep needing larger shoes. Those belong in separate shrinking funds, small pools built for known future costs. An emergency fund is for the surprise. A sinking fund is for the calendar. Mix them together and the balance looks healthy right until 3 predictable bills arrive at once. The fourth failure is never increasing the rule. $40 is a floor, not a ceiling. When a raise arrives, capture part of it before your lifestyle expands. When a car loan ends, redirect some of the old payment. When you cancel a subscription, move the amount instead of letting it vanish into checking. Otherwise, your income rises but your savings stay parked at the same red light. But emergency savings buys something before you spend $1 of it, negotiating power. With no buffer, every decision becomes urgent. You may have to accept the first repair quote, stay in a bad job, renew an expensive lease, or put a medical bill on a credit card because time has run out. With a buffer, you can pause. You can compare prices, level and budget, and you can wait for that right job. You can handle the insurance deductible and you can just say no. That is why the difference between $0 and $1,000 often feels larger than the difference between $10,000 and $11,000. The first $1,000 changes the number of choices that are available to you, and that brings us back to $40. The number is not powerful by itself. $40 spent at Starbucks over a few visits is just coffee. $40 left in checking is background noise. $40 given a job on payday becomes a vote for the person you want to be 6 months from now. Then you cast that same vote again and again and again. The goal is not to become perfect with money, it is to make the useful decision easier and earlier and automatic enough that an imperfect month cannot erase it. So when your next paycheck lands, move one $40 block before restaurants, apps, and stores begin making their case. Put it somewhere safe, sweep what you reasonably can at the end of each pay period. Increase the floor when life gives you room. One block becomes a starter buffer. The buffer becomes a month, the month becomes a season. And for the person who needs it, that season can eventually become a year. If you try the $40 payday rule, leave a comment with a number that fits your real life. 40, 20, 10, or something else. Your answer may help someone else realize that starting smaller still counts. And if you want more practical money ideas without the hype, join the free Coyote Invest newsletter linked below. Because once your emergency fund is finally growing, a new question appears. How much cash is too much cash? And when should the next $40 stop sitting safely and start working harder? If you enjoyed this or got something out of it, please leave a like, subscribe again, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.